Introduction. Dear students, can you think of few richest people in India today? Well, can you find something in common? Yes, there are all either politicians or supported by politicians. If we analyze deeper, we would also infer that politics is influencing our day-to-day life in almost all aspects. Today, as the topic says, we are going to learn about the problems from the political aspect. We know that our country has been seeing much unrest that is politically ingrained. Every day, we see new problems arising. Our society is political in nature. We say this because for many centuries our society has been governed by some sort of politics. Politics has played a major role in our society for many centuries. We see politics all around us. Well, it has merged with our society and has created a lot of problems to the people. So, shouldn't we discuss about this influencing topic? How does it affect our society? We will understand the reasons for many of the political unrests that we are seeing in India today. All of us know and read about them on a daily basis. So this topic is just to make you more aware of the issues involved and why these unrests are happening and the problems arising from them. We will also try to find remedial measures by the end of this topic. Origin of politics in India. Centuries back also, we had people who were considered head of the society in rural areas. They were called the Sarpanch or Mukhya. The head always used to be a male and he used to have members under him to help him in the matters of the village. It used to be very simple type of politics and involved only the concerned village. Each village had the same setup. It was during the freedom fight that we saw politics come into being. At that time, it was only for our independence. It was only after India's independence and after it became a democratic country that we started to have the present type of government and the start of the politics. Present India has a number of national as well as regional parties. These political parties represent different sections among the Indian society and regions, and their core values play a major role in the politics of India. The politics of olden times have changed according to the modern time and also due to modernization of India. As we know, modernization has had an impact on all aspects of Indian society. It also affected the running and meaning of politics in India. Politics in India has become a dirty game played by the politicians only for their gain or supremacy. They give false promises to the citizens which are also not met. Politics have affected every aspect of a man's life. They use sensitive issues to meet their ends. These sensitive issues taken by them create problems in the Indian society. Issues taken by the politicians. Now let us look at the issues used by the politicians for their personal gains. We will also see how these issues affecting the normal ordinary people or society on a whole. Structural problems. Caste system. We have all learnt about caste system in India in detail in the early chapters. We also know that caste system was very dominant in traditional Hindu society. It's also a known fact that during the British rule, it started to disintegrate, but it still remained in our society. Like many social workers, including Gandhiji, tried to bring about a change in the lives of the untouchables. But since then, it has become institutionalized into our government. Caste system, even though is disintegrating through the modern ideas and education and is slowly showing changes in the society through the changes in the mindset of the people. In actual sense, it's now playing a huge part in the political arena. We can see this in rural areas more than the urban areas. Emergence of powerful dominant castes and exploitation of the poor. It is a known fact that the caste system has a significant influence over people's access to power. The privileged upper caste groups benefit more by gaining substantially more economic and political power, while the lower caste groups have limited access to those powers. This type of caste politics is very much prevalent in the rural North India, where upper and middle caste people dominate the ownership of land. One can see that in those areas, the upper caste people are capable to transfer the control over wealth into political dominance with the help of the panchayat. It is a well-known fact that the dominant people will always have more power and can access assistance from police. Today in India, one can get everything done by bribe and influence. Hence, we see that the poor are exploited by the powerful dominant people with the help of the police. Hence, these poor lower castes are being suppressed and exploited. So these people still live under poverty line and their life hasn't improved at all. Emergence of vote bank politics based on caste. In India, we can also see that everybody has their own favorite leaders, as they would have given those hopes of better living conditions and hence will back them during elections with the expectation of receiving benefits once their candidate is in office. In India, it's a common fact that if you're in power, then you are powerful to do anything. Hence, many political parties in India have openly indulged in caste-based vote bank politics. This is done because in rural areas of the north, the people are so poor and weak and so scared that they fall for this. Role played by Mandal Commission for the rise in caste-based violences and protest. The central government, on the other hand, wanted to bring up the backward classes. Hence, the Mandal Commission was established in the year 1979 to identify the socially backward people in India. This commission was set up to consider the question of seat reservations and quotas. Reservation for people to bring down caste discrimination. In the year 1980, the Commission's report affirmed the category of people who were considered backward according to the social and economic standards fixed by the government. These people were given exclusive access to a certain portion of government jobs and slots in public universities and recommended changes to these quotas by increasing the percentage of reservation to these posts. A decade after the commission gave its report, Mr. V.P. Singh and the then Prime Minister of India tried to implement its recommendations in the year 1989. The criticism was sharp and colleges across the country held massive protests against it. Many criticized the government that the politicians were trying to cash on caste-based reservations for purely electoral purposes. In the present scenario, also this reservation or quota system is prevalent, which has forced other upper caste people also to open their own schools and colleges. This is a major conflict between the castes which are being used openly by the political parties just to get their votes and win the election. Thus, we can see that the politics in national level and state level has a major influence in the caste system and thus influences our society. Problems affecting the family. How can politics influence our family system? Yes, the family system has also suffered. The structure of the family hasn't changed due to communal riots and violence in the name of caste, political rivalry. The members of the families who have lost their relatives have suffered a lot. In some cases, their properties and houses have been lost. This leads to economic loss and psychological problems. When such killing takes place, they do not think of the family of the deceased person. That man would have been the breadwinner of the family, and now they are left with no income to live. The other spouse has to take the burden of running the family. In some cases, the partner might not be able to get a good income and must be under debt also. This leads to depression and suicide by the family members as they get harassed by the debtors. Effect on the tribals. For the past 10 years, displaced tribals and natives are fighting against exploitation from major Indian corporations and local officials whom they believe to be corrupt. They strongly feel that the government is neglecting their needs and that their only survival, their land, has been taken by the landowners and not returned to them. Most of them live in poverty. This problem is increasing despite all assurances given by the state governments. This is due to the fact that the villagers are against corrupt officials, politicians and contractors. They feel that the corruption by these officials and politicians are the main problems. They feel that due to them, the benefits of the land reforms given by the central government has not reached to them. And hence this has led some of them to form a group called the Naxalites. It refers to various militant communist groups operating in different parts of India under different organizational envelopes. Naxalite activities are happening in the eastern states of the mainland India like Chhattisgarh, Jharkhand, West Bengal and Odisha. Initially, the movement had its center in West Bengal. In later years, it spread into less developed areas of rural southern and eastern India such as Chhattisgarh, Odisha and Andhra Pradesh. This has become one of the major problems which India is facing now. Recently, many people got killed by them. They act as protectors of the tribes and want the lands that had been forcefully taken given back to them. This activist group has come because of economic condition of these people. Religious minorities and communal riots. India is a land of numerous religions. Everybody believes in their own religion and we can say that India has no fixed religion. We can find that the dominant religion is Hindu and then comes the Muslims, which are the second largest religion. We also have Christians, Sikhs, Buddhists, Jains, Anglo-Indians, Parsis, etc. We all know that the conflict between the Hindus and the Muslims has been going on for centuries. We also know that it aggravated during the freedom struggle and during the partition of India. It was then that the communal riots were so high that many people belonging to these religions lost their property and lives. Since then, India has witnessed many communal riots. These riots are mainly between these two large religions. Even today, we are witnessing communal riots frequently. It has now become more of a political agenda between these religions. We know that in some states in the north, the state government is Hindu dominated, and hence one can see that a small spark is enough to create a communal riot. The most important example can be of the Ayodhya problem. It was and still is a major contention for riots. It is believed by both the parties that the land is theirs. This hatred between these two religions is so high because it is being used by the politicians to get their votes and power. It has been believed by some of the politicians that since India are dominated by the Hindus, it is a land of the Hindus and so non-Hindus should not stay there. In India only we have so many religions and that many political parties. We have separate parties for the Muslims in some states of India. Each religion has their own representatives in the government and they vote only to those people. We can see some religious places are being used for political propaganda and the religious sentiments of the people are excited in order to gain political control of the state. This emergence of religion political party has threatened the secular character of India. It is feared that if it succeeds, there is a possibility that many other political parties with caste and religion as the basis may come up. Effects on the organization of the society. Corruption. Well, corruption is a widespread problem in India. Corruption has become a major aspect in Indian politics and bureaucracy. Paying bribe or using influence to get a job done in a public office has become a norm. Corruption in the Indian society has prevailed for centuries in one form or the other. The corruption became so profound only when politicians started thinking of their own welfare and for gaining power in the society. One cannot say that corruption is so high because of the ordinary people. It's a result of the connection between bureaucrats, politicians, and criminals. Political corruption. As said earlier, political corruption is worst in India. The major cause of concern is that corruption is weakening the political body and damaging the supreme importance of the law governing the society. Nowadays, politics is only for criminals and criminals are meant to be in politics. Elections in many parts of the country have become associated with a host of criminal activities. Threatening voters to vote for a particular candidate or physically prevent voters from going into the polling booth, especially weaker sections of the society like tribals, Dalits and rural women, occurs frequently in several parts of the country. One can also see that in almost all the states of India, there are cases of politicians getting involved in corruption either in the form of land dealings or establishment of foreign companies in the mining area or in the recruitment of jobs in central or state government run companies. Some of them are also involved in the displacement of tribals and getting land from them forcefully for establishing some resorts, etc. Youth unrest. Well, this is a type of movement or protest done by the students or youth of a country. In India, it has erupted in different forms and different parts of the country. They protest against anything that they feel is wrong. Most of these unrests are also political in nature. We know that in most colleges we have politics and elections which are backed by some party. These protests lead to violence in some cases. In modern times, this political-based youth unrests are not only for political purposes, but also when they realize that there are social and economical inequalities in the society. The youth of today are well educated and they have started questioning some of the measures and laws taken which might not help the society. Hence, to voice their protest of their needs, they have started this movement. Remedies? In case of communal riots, the state government should identify the prone areas and see to it that the police force has been trained properly to combat it. All textbooks and educational books should not have anything which will bring about prejudices and hatred among the religious people. It should rather have materials on integration and instill in the minds of the young children that all are equal and that all religions are equal. Another way could be by having anti-communal forces that comprises of all the educated people from all fields from both the religions. These people should try to educate the people and try to fight the case between the two religions amicably. There should be ways of seeing that all the rumors are stopped before it can turn into a riot. This is the most important thing that we should do in India because a small rumor and misunderstanding between these two can go to create a riot. They should try to use the mass media properly for this purpose. There should be some restrictions on the way politics are played in India. There should be educated people who are really concerned about the welfare of India. There should be certain guidelines and restrictions on who can become politicians and ministers in India. There should be strong laws that curtail corruptions by these people. The old laws need to be amended according to the new scenario, and these laws should not have any loopholes for them to escape. The corrupt people should be punished. It should be seen that no loyal followers of that person should also be given any power. The parties have to be very strict as to who can join them. There should be safeguards and measures to see that all the benefits that the central government is allocating to the poor and the minority sections for their well-being has to reach them and not disappear into the hands of the middle people. Once that happens, then most of the backward classes and tribes can prosper. This in turn will bring about development and bring down poverty level in India. Unless the state is able to identify and punish people who are stealing money meant for development of these backward areas, it is not going to be able to deal with the problem. Development should come simultaneously with public health, education, public works, agriculture, and irrigation. Efforts to generate employment opportunities for people will send a message that the government is seriously addressing the basic problem. With respect to the caste system, there should not be too much emphasis on the reservation or quota system for the backward people. It should not be increased by the politicians just to please the backward classes. They should also look into the problems that arise because of this system. Many deserving candidates from the upper middle caste don't get admission, and the less deserving one gets because of this reservation. It should not be such a way that the deserving candidates from both should be able to get admission in colleges and jobs in government institutions. With regard to the youth unrest, one should see that their needs are heard, and there should be someone to redress their needs. It should also not be backed by the political parties. Conclusion. Students, we have seen the influence of politics in our society. The politics has influenced our caste system and is responsible for many communal riots. It exploits the tribals and the minorities. Corruption is one of the most important social problems, and we all know that politicians are the ones who are responsible for this situation. The common man is suffered to a great extent because of this. Many problems which occurs in the familial system of our society have been influenced by politics. We also discussed about the disorganization and developmental problems of our country with the political lens. Now, to conclude this topic, we can only say that if the government officials, politicians and the ordinary people work together, then we can at least try to combat these problems in India. Politics is playing a major role for all the unrests that are happening in our country. Even though India is a developing country, these problems pose a threat on the security and secular nature of the country. If these problems are not taken seriously, then we have a chance of our country falling apart, and we will show in our economic development. To march forward as a developed country without so many problems, then it has to be addressed now, and that too at the grassroots level or the root cause, as we say. If the root cause can be removed gradually, we will be able to see a massive change in the Indian society. This cannot be done overnight. It has to be done by all of us, including the politicians, for the betterment of our country.